Hello, thank you so much for joining this video. My name is Dave Adams, and today we're going to delve deep into Tailwind. So let's get right into it. I have my Visual Studio Code window opened right here with my project opened inside. But first of all, with Tailwind, we are going to need Node.js before we can install Tailwind. So you just go to the Node.js website, you search for it right here, Node.js, you go to download, and then you download for whichever platform you're on. There's one for Windows, one for Mac, and one for Linux. So when you're done, you just go through the installation and then you can move to Tailwind. I have a video on how to install Tailwind, so you can check that out. So now on the Tailwind main page, all you do is you just go to the documentation, which is also the docs right here. And then you can see get started with Tailwind CSS right here, the installation steps. So we're going to follow these steps. I'm going to show you how to install Tailwind in these simple steps. So first off, we're going to copy this first line. So I'm going to copy it, go right back into my Visual Studio Code. Click these three dots and it should reveal the terminal option. So I'm going to do new terminal, but I often prefer to go with git bash. So I'm going to use that today. So I just copy that, press enter, and that should install Tailwind in my project folder. So as it's working on that, I'm going to go back into my browser. I'm going to copy this second command line, which should initialize Tailwind. So you can see that it's done. I'm going to paste it here as well by right clicking, and I'm going to hit enter as well. So this should give me my config file, my Tailwind config file, and we're good to go. So back into the browser, sorry. So we can copy this into our Tailwind config file. So just highlight and replace it. So basically it's going to look for any HTML or CSS file within the source folder. Right. So what do we see here? We see a directory here which says source/input.css. So what that means for us is we have to create a source folder. So that will be src, and within that source folder, we're going to create an input.css. So now we have that ready. We're going to go back, copy these lines of code. I'm going to paste it here, and that will be good for the inputs.css. Now I'm going to go back into the browser, go to the next step, and you can see this command line where it says npx tailwind blah 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 blah. So what this means is we have to create an output.css. So I'm going to do exactly that. I'm going to create an output.css file. I mean, if you run the command on its own, it will do that for you, but I like to do that beforehand. So to get Tailwind running, all we have to do is copy this line, and paste it in our terminal and press enter. So anytime you need Tailwind to run, you're going to copy this command line and you'll be good to go. Finally, we need our index.html page because that's where we're actually going to type our HTML code. And you can see that that also goes into the source folder. So we're going to do that as well. So index.html. Now, beware, this is not in the source folder. So I'm going to drag it there, and now we're good to go. So just to make things quick, I could copy this snippet, paste it here, and then we're good to go. So one thing I was trying to point out, anytime you need to run Tailwind, you're going to need this command line. You because Tailwind kind of processes certain classes that you specify in the code to produce the output CSS. So what Tailwind does is it takes certain classes that you type in your HTML, as I was saying, and then it processes it, and then it places them in our output.css file. And that output.css file is what is a link to your HTML file. So every time you run Tailwind, you need to process any new classes that you may have. So let's test this out. So I'm going to go live and it should open in the browser. So there we go. We have our example Tailwind code. So I can clean it and then type anything that I want. So Tailwind 2024. Let's go into the browser to see. That's right there. You can do text green 900 and that will change. So that's when you know Tailwind is actually working. So when we're done with that, anything that we need in Tailwind, we can quickly search here. So for you to be able to master Tailwind, you need to have CSS, the basic knowledge of CSS as a prerequisite. And if you're an ardent viewer of this channel, you would know your CSS. So I'm just going to show you how to leverage the power of Tailwind to carry out your projects quickly, because it's supposed to make everything quick for you. You wouldn't have to type out a long CSS file just to get your web page looking good. So let's say, for instance, we want to check our font sizes. So I'll just say sizes. It should give me suggestions. So typography, we have font size right there. So these are all configurations that could go into your Tailwind config file, but there are various classes that you can apply just to change your font styles. So you have, it starts out at text XS to text 9XL. So let's go with text 9XL just to see what it looks like. So I'm just going to put that there, and then yes. So you can see that text is very big. And if I decide to change the class back to XS, which should be extra small, you can see there's a tiny text in the corner. So that's how basically Tailwind works for the configurations. Let's say you want to specify certain font sizes for your project. All you need to do is to copy this and go into your Tailwind config file, and that will go here, and a comma will come next. So now you have your specified text. Tailwind gives you the flexibility to go with whatever you want to. So let's say we want to change this text base. Yes. So now we have text base here because we specified it here. These are all here. So let's say when you implement it this way, what happens is it overwrites Tailwind's default styles. Now, if you want to add on to what Tailwind has, let's say for instance, you want to create. So when I went through the various text classes, it ended at text 9XL. Let's say you want to create text 10XL and beyond. So I'm just going to clear these ones above and make this 10XL. Probably, let's make this 20 rem. Now, what the difference is we've pasted it in the extend object. Now, what it's going to do is it's going to add on to the default styling within Tailwind. So now we can go back into our code, and text 10XL is right there. So now we've added on to Tailwind's default. We've created our custom text style, and that's in our config.js. Same way for colors, things like colors. So you can extend your colors. You can create a colors object if you wanted to override Tailwind's default colors, which has so many. If I go back into Tailwind and I do colors, we have text colors. There are so many. There's like these are all the colors that Tailwind has by default. There's green, there's red, there's different shades and so on. So let's say we want to create our custom colors. So let's say we do brown. Okay. What brown color do I know of? I'd have to, okay, just for demonstration's sake, this is black, but let's say I wanted to add my own custom color. I can get rid of this and do text brown. You can see it's black actually, because I didn't know what brown color code to use. I can quickly look up one brown color code. Good. Okay, let me just copy this, paste it in my config file, so we have an accurate representation of what I'm trying to show you. So we can go back and we have our brown text right here. So Tailwind gives you the flexibility to really customize the stuff that you want to do. So we can do font size, we can do colors, we can also do our container. So the function of a container, when I'm teaching people, I always say the container formats your documents in a presentable way, especially for very large screens. So I'll clean that, go back into the Tailwind documentation, just quickly search for container. So using the container, I'm going to scroll down and then I'm going to just copy this object. So container goes into theme, right? Yes. So enter container. Also, we want it to be in the center. So I'm going to say true. So what that means is anytime we use the class container, so let's say we cut this, we define our container class, we place it in there, it's going to have a padding of 2 rem as we specified. So now you can see that padding is there. If I decide to inspect, I highlight, I scroll down to the box model right down here, you can see that the padding is there on the left and right side because of the container. So that's how Tailwind works. There are a lot of things you can do. There's flex in Tailwind. There's grids. There's everything that you need. You just have to explore with the documentation and also with the background of your CSS, the basic CSS knowledge. You'll be able to figure things out and it will help you build your code fast, quickly. And yeah, so that's Tailwind for you. Everything you need is arranged right here on the left side. You have your flex box and grid, you have your layout, your container, you have your typography, so your text, everything about text, your background colors, you have your borders, your box shadow effect, blur. And the beautiful thing about Tailwind, before I go, instead of now coming to your CSS to manually type maybe BG red hover BG red So when you hover over BG red, you now specify. Tailwind has made it so easy where you can just do hover with your colons, and let's say when we hover over the text, right, you want it to be red. So you don't have to write any manual CSS to handle that. You can do that right in the class. This should work. Wow. Oh no, I didn't specify which shade of red it should be. So I'm going to go back into the browser, and anytime I hover over the text, it becomes red. So that's the beauty of Tailwind. I think you can also do active. So you also, maybe when it's active, text green. So when I click, it's going to turn green. By default, it's brown. When I hover, it's red. When I click, it's green. That's what active is. So that's the beautiful thing about Tailwind. There's so many things to do. So I hope this video helps you out with your journey using Tailwind. I'll make more videos on Tailwind. I have a video on cloning Netflix using Tailwind and many other videos. So be sure to check them out. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.